Hello, my name is Matt Sumpter. I'm in the Tuesday Night Education 104 class. I chose to read The Essential 55 by Ron Clark. Uh, Pretty good book. I actually really enjoyed it. It turned out to be an easier read than I thought it would. But as you may have guessed by the title, it's broken up into basically 55 classroom concepts, or as the author calls them, rules. Um, One of the things I liked about the book is you can just flip through it like a manual, picking what rule you want to read next. You don't have to read them in order. It's not linear at all. Each rule has its own point, and the author does a really great job of telling stories that puts them into context, and he even shows some of the outcomes from um, when he applies the rules to his classroom. Um, as I was reading through some of the rules, I noticed that these shouldn't just be reserved for the classroom. It was one of the things I was most impressed with. Most of the rules have to do with how you treat other people, what to expect from them, how you expect them to treat you. They deal with setting expectations for behaviors and how to reward them. A couple of my favorite rules was one of the first ones was yes, ma'am, and no, sir. I guess we forget how to respond to people correctly. It's a sign of respect. It lets them know that you respect them and that you expect the same expect the same respect back from them. But not all the rules are so formal. Take for instance, properly congratulating someone for doing well in a game or showing improvement. He talks about how he has the entire class clap if a classmate does well. He goes on to say that if one person starts to clap, then everyone should. This way, the entire class participates in rewarding their classmate for a job well done. No matter how insignificant the accomplishment is, they get rewarded by the entire class just for improvements or you know anything like that. Um, Another one is if you ask a question in a conversation, you should ask a question in return. Uh, which until I read it, I didn't really see his point, but it's so simple and so basic. One of the examples he gives is, "Did you have a nice weekend?" Just replying with a yes shows that you're not interested in the other person or how they're doing. We should say something along the lines of, "Yes, I had an excellent weekend with my family. How was your weekend?" Just tagging that simple question on at the end, asking how they were doing, made all the difference. One of his rules in here, and I really liked it. It reminded me of one of the conversations we actually had in this class about random acts of kindness. Um, he talks about going out of his way to be kind and generous and how it can make such a huge difference. It's one of the longer rules in the book. It's rule number 11. So far, it is one of my favorite, and the book's worth buying just to read that particular rule. Not only does it cover an act of random kindness, which it does, a very large one, but it talks a lot about follow through, although it doesn't point that out, and encouragement, and how this random act of kindness really encouraged his class to do something great, in which they did. Uh, in the book, someone actually donates $12,000 so they can do a class project that turns out to go not just national but worldwide and gets a response from the U.S. president at the time, which was Bill Clinton, and his wife Hillary Clinton, the first lady, of course. Um, so it's worth buying just to read that one to see how that actually changed some people's lives. Rule number 47 is it's interesting, it's fun, and it adds a spin to the book. It's about Doritos. Uh, I hope you read the book just to read that one. It's kind of funny and it makes so much sense when he does it. When he talks about his Dorito rule, it's something I would have never have thought of, but it makes complete sense. And I hope you pick up the book just to read that. In conclusion, I think this is a book that everybody can get something from. There's so many helpful rules listed in this book, from organization and hygiene to just being nice to people. They really teach us to be thoughtful and consistent. Most of them seem like common sense after you read them, but I know I wouldn't have thought to put them together as a list, let alone attempt to be consistent about their enforcement. I think this is a book that I'm going to read over and over again, just as a reminder. Uh, I've also decided to pick out a few of the rules as I go along and hold myself accountable to some of them and see how I can apply them in everyday life. I know in the beginning I said this isn't just shouldn't just be reserved for the classroom, and it shouldn't. Some of the rules are just really simple and easy to follow, and if you apply them to everyday life, you'll see how much of a change they'll actually make. That's my 6 minute report. I'm sorry on the essential 55. There was just too much good stuff to cut it down to 3 minutes.